Hello students. With this video, we are going to start with the syllabus of history. So what exactly is history? A very common answer for what is history is it is the study of past. But let me tell you, it's not just about studying the past. It is about understanding how the world which we live in today, our present world, our current modern world, how it evolved. What was the contribution of the past societies or the past in the evolving of this world we live in today? The first chapter we have is what, where, how, and when. Let us start with this chapter. Rashida's question. Rashida reading the newspaper. Suddenly, her eyes fell on a small headline 100 years ago. How, she wondered, could anyone know what happened so many years ago? So, of course, anybody would wonder how can we find out about what exactly happened in the past about 100 or 200 or even 1000 years ago. Not talking about what are the things which we can know about the past. So there are several things like what people ate, the kind of clothes they wore, the houses, the type of houses they lived in. We can also find out about the lives of hunters, herders, farmers, rulers, merchants, etc. We can also find out very simple things like the games which children played, the stories they heard, the songs they sang, etc. Today in our world, we have houses made up of concrete or bricks, cement, etc., in which we live. So, do you ever wonder where did these early people live? People have lived along the banks of the rivers. For example, people lived in the bank of the river Narmada. Here you can see this river Narmada. Most of the earliest settlements of the people who belong to the past, their settlements or their houses were found from this river, from the banks of the river Narmada. Now coming to who were these people? What did they actually did? What did they actually do? So some of the earliest people who lived here were skilled gatherers. Skilled gatherers means that is people who gathered their food. Okay, gathering means to collect their food. They knew about the vast wealth of the plants in the surrounding forests. They collected roots, fruits, and other forest produce for their food. And apart from that, they also hunted animals for food. So, in short, we can call them hunter and gatherers. Now coming to the other another location, that is the Suleiman and the Kirthar Hills in the northwest of India. These are some of the areas where women and men first began to grow crops such as wheat and barley about 8,000 years ago. People also began rearing animals. Rearing animals mean keeping domesticating animals to extract products from them. For example, sheep, goat, and cattle, and lived in villages. Another important locations from the past are the Garo Hills and the Vindhya Hills ranges. These are the areas where agriculture developed. The places where rice was first grown are to the north of the Vindhyas, that is here. So, you would be wondering why we are suddenly studying about these locations and how come we know about these locations and the past life that people life about the people who lived in this location. We are studying about these locations because the historians and archaeologists have actually spent the hundreds and thousands of years in their research about research in these areas. They have searched these locations top to bottom. Okay, they have dug the ground and they have found the remains of the things belonging to the past. So it is through the findings of the historians and the archaeologists today we have locations like this, which contribute or which are important for the past of the early people who used to live in India. It was around the river Indus and its tributaries. About 4,700 years ago, some of the earliest cities flourished on the banks of these rivers. Later, about 2,500 years ago, cities developed on the banks of the Ganga and its tributaries along the sea coasts. An important tributary of river Ganga was the Son River, which we also have today. What happened in the ancient times was along these rivers or along this river to the south of the Ganga, this place was known as Magad. Magad. Its rulers were very powerful and they had set up a large kingdom. Kingdoms were also set up in other parts of the country as well. Throughout the past, we have people who traveled from one part of the subcontinent to the another. They traveled through the high hills, mountains such as Himalayas, deserts, rivers, and seas, and made journeys dangerous at times, but never impossible. Why did these people travel? Or why did these people move so often? They moved in search of livelihood or to escape from natural disasters like floods or droughts. Sometimes men marched in armies conquering other lands. Besides, we also had merchants or traders who traveled with caravans or ships carrying valuable goods from place to place. And we also had another type of travelers. These were religious travelers or simply religious teachers. What did they do? What did they do was they traveled from place to place, town to town, stopping to offer instruction and advice on the way. They basically their work was to spread their religion and teach people their religious values as they went through their way. Finally, we also had some people who traveled whose travel was driven by the spirit of adventure. There were people who were adventurous. They wanted to discover new and exciting places. All these led to the sharing of ideas between the people. So, when people moved so often, they moved from place to place, they met new people, and it was through meeting and greeting of new people that ideas between the people were changed. Okay. Another important thing which arises is why do people travel nowadays? The things today have changed now. Okay. People travel today just for adventure or in for work or as tourists, etc. But they don't move or travel in the way the people in the past used to travel. The modes of transport have developed. The time traveling takes is now much less than what it used to take earlier. And the reasons have also changed. Now people don't travel or move from one place to another to settle. They settle in one place and travel to different kind of places for maybe adventure or for work or other things. Now coming to this map again, in this map we have so many hills, mountains, rivers, seas, So all these natural things, they form natural frontiers of the subcontinent. It might have been difficult to cross these frontiers, but people still did. People came from different parts of the world to our Indian subcontinent and they settled here. People's movement, or the movement of the people, enriched our cultural traditions. People shared new ways of craving stone, carving stone, composing music, and even cooking food over several hundreds of years, as we studied in political science. That it is through the interaction of the people from place to place, okay, the culture of a place gets developed or enriched or it changes. Now, coming to the topic, names of the land. Two words which we often use for our country, India, today's India, are India and Bharat. The word India comes from Indus, called Sindhu in Sanskrit. The Iranians and the Greeks who came through the northwest about 2500 years ago were familiar with the Indus and called Indus Hindos or Indos. And the land to the east of the river was called India. The name Bharat was used for a group of people who lived in the northwest and who are mentioned in the Rig Veda, the earliest composition in Sanskrit, which has been dated to about 3500 years ago. Later, it was used to give the name for our country. So, it is through the Iranians, Greeks, and Rigved that the name of our country, India and Bharat, have been. We have come up with the names of our country as Bharat and India.